All right. So our first one, what's the first step we do?
You add or subtract. You don't know that does not have a variable next to it.
All right, so we're going to subtract 3. And what am I left with? 2x equals 10.
And divide by 2.
And now we want to divide by 2 to get x by itself. And what do we get for x? Alright. I know all of you did this or should have done this. And I heard about 90% of you said this was easy.
This is easy.
So then the conversation's going to be focused up here so we can get through it quickly. Alright, what's my first step in my next one?
Add 8.
Add 8. And we get that 3x is equal to 24. And what do I want to do next? And we get that x is
8.
x is 8.
Do not tell her.
Phones away. Brendan, put it away.
Never happened, swear.
Alright,
I believe it did.
so today's notes are on solving radical equations. So the only difference from what we're doing with two-step equations is now we're going to put a radical sign somewhere in the mix. And there's 3 steps to solving these. Go ahead. You're fine. Hold on. All right. Conversations need to not be happening. So our step 1 here is that we need to get the radical alone. So we're going to move terms to get the radical term alone. So we want to get the radical term alone on one side of our equation. Once we've done that, we'll move to step 2. Step 2 tells us to square both sides.
Wait, so what's the meaning to call someone a square? Okay, you're a square.
It's very 60s.
I love the 60s in my past.
That's interesting. It was kind of, I mean, like another word for like loser in the 60s.
Were you ever called a square?
I was not alive in the 60s, but
Did you ever call anybody a square?
also not alive in the 60s. But moving on. I've never called someone a square now. Alright.
No, honestly,
I want us to think about this for a second. If we square both sides, so we just squared a radical, what does that do? What does squaring a square root do?
cube it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What is a square root and a square? What are they?
Isn't it just square now? Because the square root is actually a number thing.
What is this? What is it? It gets rid of our radical. Our radical's gone. So that's why we're doing this. So we're going to square both sides. And now we've gotten rid of our radical. So once we've done this and squared both sides, our final step once we've squared them is to solve for the variable. And this is going to be just like before. Sometimes this might not be doing anything. Sometimes this might be doing a couple of steps. So each of these can have 1 or 2 steps, sometimes more, sometimes less. But these are the 3 main things we need to do. Are we ready to try one?
Yeah.
All right. Example 1. First thing I want to do is get the radical term alone. How do I get that radical alone?
By solving.
Adding.
Move terms to.
All right. So we want to move the 6th term to the other side. And now I have 3 roots of x equals 6. Do I have the radical alone?
No.
No.
It's divided.
Wait, so this is multiplication, right? Right, Kennedy?
So I'm just talking. You're talking about math, actually.
All right. So this is being multiplied. So to get rid of this 3, we'll divide. And what am I left with on this side?
Square root of x.
So the square root of x is equal to 2. Now I have a radical alone. So now we square both sides. Now step 2 is always one step. So squared and squared. So what is the square root of x squared? X. What's 2 squared? 4. My last step said to solve for the variable. Do I need to do anything?
No.
We're done.
You're gonna plug it back into the top and check it.
We do not have to. We do not have to right now. We will later.
No.
Right now we don't. Okay. Do you guys want to try the next one on your own?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Wait.
Just use notes to that.
What?
Okay.
Go back to that.
If we. All right. So to do the next one, my first step is to do what? Add 7. So I get the square root of x equals 7.
What's 1/4 squared?
Hold on. Squared. Square. Squaring both sides. Square root of x squared is 7 squared is.
I did most of that.
And we are done.
So what happened?
All right. This next one.
Boom.
This group of 4 needs to be paying attention.
I did that one.
It's square root of 7. 2.
I'm not going to talk over you guys. Okay, so think about this the same way. What's the first step we do? We add 3. And we get 12 roots of x is 3. And what's our next step? We want to divide by 12. So we get that the square root of x is equal to what? Which is also. Alright, so as a reduced fraction, I get 1/4. Now we're going to square both sides. What am I left with here? Okay, so if x equals, and this is where I want to look back at some of our exponent ideas. Angela? Alright, hold on. What do I do? What do my exponent rules tell me when I have quotients? What do I do with our exponent, Kennedy?
I'm not
What? Go ahead,
Kennedy, Mrs. Gilday is saying
Can you answer my question?
that.
That group needs to stop talking now. It's the 4th time I've asked you. Sarah. Alright. So, exponents of quotients. We can distribute that exponent to both the top and the bottom. So this is 1 squared over 4 squared. What's 1 squared?
1,
What's 4 squared?
2.
What's 4 squared?
16.
So x is 1/16, and we're done.
What did you say?
Alright, so if x is equal to something, we have no solving left to do. How do we feel about the front side?
Bueno.
Good. Okay. We ready to go to the back?
Oh, that's scary.
Back's not as scary as it looks. I would say that you can do the first 4 already.
Me? Everyone was.
Why is Gilday's waiting for you?
Alright. We all done with this last example?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. So this next kind of note we have is called an extraneous solution, which is a really obnoxious word. Yes, extraneous. So we'll put this in, better things for us to know what this is. So what this means is, all right, so an extraneous solution what is a solution? What's another word for solution? Answer, right? So it's an answer. All right, so a solution to okay, so an extraneous solution is a solution to squaring both sides that is not a solution to the original equation. And the way we will know if we have one is if we get more than one solution, we're going to go back and check, and one of them will not work. That is the extraneous solution. The other one is the real solution, so our final solution. Okay? So we'll see those at the end, but we have a couple to solve before that. So that's our extraneous solutions. So our next example. What is the first thing we need to do to get our radical alone? Okay, so here's how we're going to look at this. Where is my radical? So I have one radical, right? And this is the radical part. So that's what I want to get alone. Because you're still talking. So we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. And we get 2 roots of x plus 6 is equal to 91. Or, excuse me, is equal to what?
12.
12. Do I have what's in the box by itself? No. So now what do I need to do? And what do I get on the left side? Alright, so we have the square root of x plus 6. Hold on. So equals 6. Okay. Now do I have what's in the box all by itself?
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're ready to square both sides. What is the square root of x plus 6 squared?
X plus 6.
It's just x plus 6. So whatever's under our radical is what we rewrite down here without a radical. And what's 6 squared?
36.
Alright, so now we do have a final step to do. What's our last step? And what do I get? X equals 30.
Oh, what?
So 36 minus 6 is 30.
32.
So,
I said 36 on that.
alright. How do we feel on this one? Some thumbs ups for this is really easy.
Spectacular.
Not easy, but it made a lot of sense. Thumbs in the middle for not going so, maybe one more, and thumbs down for completely lost. I see about 4 thumbs, and there are a lot more than 4 of you. Pinky? All right. All right. Our next one is very similar. What's our first step going to be? Subtract. So here's our radical. So this is what we need to get along. So subtract 7 from both sides. And what do I get on the left side?
Oh, 5.
What do I get on this side?
Oh, my bad. That's right. Yeah, actually, I hear my attention. You do plus negative.
Square root of x minus 5. And on the right?
What the?
4.
12 minus 7 is 5.
5.
Very crazy.
I'm hearing a lot of right answers, but I'm also thinking people are having a hard time paying attention.
No, I get it.
It's just one of those days.
Alright, so we have our radical by itself. So what do I need to do to both sides?
Take off the 5.
What's step 2?
Last square them both. Add 5 plus.
We need to square both sides. We want to get rid of the radical. How many of you heard Sarah? Sarah, you're good. Alright, let's make sure we're giving everyone our attention and our respect. So, Sarah reminded us that step 2 is to square both sides. And what do we get on the left? X minus 5. What is 5 squared? Alright, now we just need to solve for x. What do we do? And what do we get?
30.
X is 30. Good. Alright. You're going to get a little more complicated. How many of you know what you want to do first?
What song is that?
Alright. If I square both sides, what's going to happen?
Squares go away.
Square roots are going to go away. So let's square both sides. So what do we get on the left?
X plus 4.
What do I get on the right?
2x plus negative.
2x minus 1. What do we do next?
You move the x.
Alright, so let's combine all the x's together on one side. So what do we need to do to move it from this side?
X.
I took out the window. Good job, sir.
I mean, can you subtract X?
Alright, we want to get all the x's on one side. Kennedy, what did you say?
Subtract X.
Alright, so let's subtract x from both sides. And on our left, what are we left with? So x plus 4 minus an x gives us just 4. And using like terms, our 2x minus 1x, x, and we have a subtract 1. What's the last step?
Add 1.
We need to move the 1 over. Hold on. So we get 5 is x. How do we feel there? How many of you got that one right?
So close.
Good. Okay. This one's one more step. Don't have any radicals by themselves. On one side. I do? So we need just one radical on its by itself on one side. How might we get there? Brooke?
Yeah, really.
What? Okay, so let's add this term to both sides. So if we do that, what are we left with on our left side? We get the square root of 4x minus 3.
Square
What do I left with on the right side?
it.
Right, so 0 plus the square root of x gives us the square root of x. And now this looks just like the one before it, where we have radical terms on both sides. So what do we want to do?
Square them.
Square them both. And what does this simplify to?
4x equals x.
Alright, so now our radicals all went away. And we need to get our x's all on one side, right? We want to combine all our x terms. Which term do we want to move? Who wants to move the 4x and who want 4x's? How many of you want to move the x term?
Hands down.
Alright, most people said 4x, so let's move the 4x. How do I move the 4x over?
Subtract it.
Subtract it.
I said I didn't.
Oh, dog. This is confusing. So
That's okay.
X minus 4.
So what do we get on the left side when we have 4x minus 3 minus... We move the 4x over. So we have negative 3. So we have a positive x minus 4x. So we have negative 3x. So how'd you get x equals 1?
Because you divide.
Alright, so I'm going to just work up. So we have negative 3 equals negative 3x. We want to divide by negative 3. And you are correct. X is 1. Some of you wanted to move the plane, the 1x over. We can do that too. We would subtract 1x from both sides leaving a 0 over here. It'll work the same way. As long as we do the same thing to both sides, it doesn't matter which way we go. Okay, so now we're going to make this a little more complicated. We have a radical all by itself on one side. What do we want to do?
Square.
We'll square it. So square the left, square the right. What's our left side? All right. Thank you, Jacob. And what's the right? X squared. All right. So now here's where things get different. Before, we would square our radical, and we would not have anything with an exponent. How do we solve equations when we have an x squared? How did we solve these before? What? What kind of equations have x squareds in them?
Quadratic.
You're correct. But going back to chapter 9, do you remember our equations that were something x squared plus something x?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the only way we know how to solve these is to set them equal to 0, right? So when we set them equal to 0, we wanted our x squared to stay positive. So which terms do we want to move? Okay. So let's subtract 20. So if I have 20 minus x minus 20, what do I have over here? Negative x. And since these are different terms, we get x squared minus 20. We want to put everything on one side and make it equal 0. So let's add an x. And we get what on the left side? Alright, and I'm going to put this in the order that we looked at these before. So we have an x squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. Does that look familiar? Alright, what did we do to solve these before?
Box and diamond.
Box and diamond? Good. Alright, so because I'm going to run out of room, I'm going to do my box and diamond on the board.
Am I the only one that
What goes in the top of my diamond?
Negative.
I don't know.
I know.
The top of our diamond is the first and the last term that's multiplied. What's the bottom of our diamond? Our middle term. These two numbers need to do what?
Negative 20.
5 and negative x.
They need to do what to negative 20x squared? Multiply, add to x. Anybody have any two numbers that work?
5. 5 and negative 5.
So a positive 5x and a negative 4x. So 5x minus 4x.
It can't be 4x because it's not negative 20.
It is it's negative 20x.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So now we go to our box. What goes in the top left? Our first term. Bottom right. Our last term. And our answers. Go to our diagonals. We'll go 5x here and negative 4x. What goes up here? What's the greatest common factor here? X. Between 5x and negative 20? Say 5. X squared and 5x? X again. Negative 4x and negative 20. Negative 4. Good. Make sure our negatives are okay. 5 and negative 4. Does that give us negative 20? Yep. X and negative 4x. X and negative 4x. Does that give us negative 4x? Yeah. So our negatives are good. So what does that mean for our answer? What does it look like? What? I mean, 0 is either, it's the multiplication of x plus 5 times x minus 4. Now, how do I solve for x here?
Oh, x equals negative.
So we set both of our two equations to 0, right? So this right here tells us one of these has to be equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0, or x minus 4 is 0. So if it's the first one, what is x? Negative 5. If it was the second one, the next is 4. So here's where we come up with more than one solution. So we need to make sure that they are correct. So let's start with the negative 5, and we'll go back to our first one. And what we're going to want to be careful of is, I know we have our squares in here, but that's not part of the original equation. So substitute negative 5 in for x. What's 20 minus negative 5? I'm sorry? I heard it. 20 minus negative 5. 25. The square root of 25 is square root of 25. 5. Does 5 equal negative 5?
No.
No. So So this one is not correct. Let's make sure the second one is. What's 20 minus 4?
16.
What's the square root of 16?
4.
No.
4.
Yeah.
Does 4 equal 4?
Yeah.
All right. So this one works, and that's our answer.
And it's okay that the other one doesn't work.
That's what kind of a solution is that?
Extraneous.
Extraneous. So if it doesn't work, then it's an extraneous solution.
Alright.
All right. One more of these. What do we want to do? How do we get rid of our radical? Square both sides. So on the left side, once we've squared it, what are we left with? What are we left with? Thank you, Jacob. Anyone listening besides Jacob? All right, thank you, Lily. So what is x squared? I did. X squared is just x squared. Okay, so now we have an exponent, and it's a squared. So now we need to go to factoring. So first thing, let's move the 3x over. So 4 is x squared minus 3x. And we still need to get 0, so minus 4. So now we get 0 equals x squared.
Why is this one 0 on that side? Like, why are these last two numbers?
So the only way we know how to solve with a squared is to factor, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
So when we have that exponent, we have to go to factoring. Alright, so now let's box and diamond. And I already have mine drawn, so I'm going to use the same one. Alright, what's my top of my diamond?
X squared.
We have 2 people listening. What's the top of my diamond?
Negative 4x squared.
Negative 4x squared. Bottom of my diamond? Negative 3x. So what multiplies, Brendan?
4.
What's 4 times 1?
4.
It's 4.
I need a negative.
Negative 4.
Alright, so negative 4x and a positive x, or 1x. Alright, first top left of my box. What's the top left of my box? And the bottom right?
Negative 4.
Negative 4. And we'll go negative 4x and a positive 1x.
X and X.
So I can pull an x here. Top here.
Negative 4.
I'll do negative 4. These are both have negatives, so that makes sense. This way. And what do these ones have in common?
1.
1. So once we've done our box and diamond, and remember with these ones, these are the leading coefficients of 1. So you don't have to do the whole box and diamond if you remember how to do it. So 0 is, I have x minus 4 times x plus 1. Alright? So now what do we do to solve for x? Set each point equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0. Or x plus 1 equals 0. So what is x here? If x minus 4 is 0, what is x? If x plus 1 is 0, what is x? Negative 1. Alright, so now we have 2 solutions. Let's check them. What is 3 times 4?
12.
Plus 4.
16.
What's the square root of 16?
4.
Does 4 equal 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one works. Check the second one. What's 3 times negative 1? Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. What's 1? The square root of 1? Does 1 equal negative 1? No. Okay, so that means this one works, this one doesn't, and that is our final answer.